Y'all know how this shit go, you know. All eyes on me. Roll up in the club. Right. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. You know what? I bet you got it twisted, you don't know who to trust. So many player hating niggas trying to sound like us. Say they ready for the fuck, but I don't think they know it. Straight to the depths of hell, that's where them cowards going. Well, are you still down, nigga? Holler when you see me. And let these devils suck, but the day they finally free me, I got a caravan of niggas every time we ride. Hitting motherfuckers up when we pass by. Until I die, live the life of a boss player. Cause even when I'm high, fuck with me and we boss later. The future's in my eyes. Cause all I want is cash and things. A 500, bands walking flashy rings. Bitches pursue me like a dream. Been known to disappear before your eyes like a dope game. It seems my main thing was to be major. Pay the game sharper than the motherfucking razor blade. Save money, bring bitches. Bitches bring lies. One nigga's getting jealous and motherfuckers die. Depend on me like the first and 15. They might hold me for a second, but before gon' get me. We got 4 niggas and low riders and ski masks screaming thug life. Every time they pass, all eyes on me. Little like a thug nigga, till a dead guy. Little like a football play, all eyes on me. All eyes on me. Little like a thug nigga, till a dead guy. Little like a football play, cause he been getting hot. Hey, to my nigga Pop. So much trouble in the world, nigga. Ain't nobody feel your pain. The world's changing every day, time's moving fast. My girl said I need a race, how long will she last? I'm caught between my woman and my pistol with my chips. Triple beam, got some focus on whistle as a tip. I'm lost in the land with no plan, living life flawless. Cry balls got prepared, let me toss this. Mediocre's got a lot of nerve, let my bucket swerve. I'm taking off from the curb. The nervousness, neglect, make me pack a tech. The devoted to serving this, my wet paychecks. Like a kite satellite, nigga, I'm forever ballin'. It ain't right, parasites, triggers and fleas crawling. Sucker ducking, getting busted, no emotion. My devotion is out of my business, nigga, keep on coasting. When you going up in there, came back, it's lonely, homie. Steady flowing against the grain, niggas still don't know me. It's about the money in this rap shit, this crap shit. It ain't funny, niggas don't even know how to act shit. What can I do, what can I say, is there another way? Blustin' shit all day, 24 parlay. My little homie G, can't you see I'm Buster Free? Niggas can't stand me, all eyes on me. Little life is a dog, nigga, till the day I die. Little life is a boss play, all eyes on me. All eyes on me, little life is a dog, nigga, till the day I die. Little life is a boss play, all eyes on me. The fans is watching, niggas plotting to get me. Will I survive? Will I die? Come on, let's picture the possibility. Giving me jobs, lawyers making it great. I told the judge I was graceful, and that's why I blame shit. Was hyper as a kid, old as a teenager. On my mobile, calling big shots. On the scene, major, packing hundreds in my drawers. Fuck the law, bitches, I fuck with a passion. I'm living rough and raw. Catching cases at a fast rate, rolling in the fast lane. Hustle till the morning, never stop until the cash came. Live my life as a thug, nigga, till the day I die. Live my life as a boss play, cause even getting hot. These niggas got me tossing shit. I put the top down, now it's time to floss my shit. Keep your head up, nigga, make these motherfuckers suffer. Up in the bins, burning rubber. The money is mandatory, the hoes is blood strap. This criminal lifestyle, equipped with bulletproof vest. Make sure your eyes is on the meal ticket. Get your money, motherfucker, let's get rich and real. Kick it, all eyes on me. Little life is a good nigga, till the day I die. Little life is a boss play, all eyes on me. All eyes on me. Little life is a good nigga, till the day I die. Little life is a boss play, all eyes on me. All eyes on me. Pay attention, my niggas. See how that shit go? Nigga walk up in this motherfucker. Be like, ding. God, life is a love, nigga, till the day I die. Living life is some bitches, it's even getting hot. Every motherfucking body. I got busted souls and police watching me, you know? Living life is a love, nigga, till the day I die. Living life is a boss play, all eyes on me. It's like what they think, I'm walking around with some keys in my pocket. All eyes on me. They think I'm going back to jail. They really on that dope. Living life is a love, nigga, till the day I die. I know y'all watching. I know y'all got me in the scope. I know y'all know this is love, life, y'all got me
What's up, everybody? Peace, 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 people. I did that song because all eyes on me can mean a positivity if it was meant to be a positive when you have all eyes on you. But it's bad when people are making you the menu, when all eyes on you to get you lined up, get you set up, get you ensnared in the system, put you in jail and have you sitting there for months upon months, if not years, based off of marijuana charges or other stupid charges that are trumped up by the prosecutors, such as a DA, that might have happened with Harris, Kamala Harris, I'm talking about. There's a young man that talks about being sent to jail innocent. Well, actually sent to prison. We're going to go over that just to show you what her past has been about. And then we're going to talk about her marijuana charges that she pretty much charged 1,900 people under her administration as the DA, tenure rather, as the prosecutor, as the DA. We're going to talk about that. And then later on in the live, when we have more people, I want to showcase the police tape of Sonia Massey, rest in peace to her. I took a while to get to finding it because it's very triggering to think about a woman calling the cops for help. And instead of being helped, she's ended up being shot in her face and being murdered. And it just took a while for me to settle my nerves to think about watching that video, but I want to watch it with you guys. So we're going to look at that video to see what that cop was on and see how the young lady was responding and talking to the officer to see if maybe, you know, something could have been prevented or an escalation. When did it happen? We're going to try to figure that out. If you could please like and share the video, I would greatly appreciate it. This is For Black Righteous Folks Home, or For Black for short. Please hit that like button. Please do not be scared about the like because it is free. It's not charging you at all. So let's start now with the video entitled Kamala Harris Prosecutors Sent This Innocent Man to Jail, or Prison rather. All videos that I will show will be under fair use under 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 for education, research, observation, all the above. Fair use. Here we go.
Never in a million years I would have thought that they were going to charge me for sales murder. I never talked to no detective, no police officer, no DA, nobody.
Just arrested and then charged.
Arrested and charged. That's it.
Was the first time you saw Kamala Harris in person the day that the verdict was issued?
She showed up at the two most pivotal times in this first trial, and me being convicted and me being sentenced. She wanted to be present for a celebration of a conviction.
That's what it felt like, a celebration?
A celebration, that's what it felt like. The reactions I get when I tell people my story is, they say it's the worst nightmare. You know, it's the closest thing to dying.
Joel, I want to read you a quote real quick. The job of a progressive prosecutor is to look out for those overlooked, to speak up for those whose voices aren't being heard, to see and address the causes of crime, not just their consequences, and to shine a light on the inequality and unfairness that lead to injustice. It is to recognize that not everyone needs punishment, that what many need, quite obviously, is help. Kamala Harris wrote that in her book, The True Sweet Hold. Does that sound consistent with the kind of with the brand of justice that you saw administered by offices that she was running?
Unfortunately, they're saying that I cannot show this video. Man, that is belonging to someone else. This is Vice. But the young man that you saw basically was lined up as the fall guy for killing someone. He did not kill anybody. He was set up, and he believes that he was set up by Kamala Harris, and that she ushered him into prison, and that she was making sure that his conviction was going to stick. So that is the type of prosecution that Kamala Harris has. I really wanted to show this video. I can't believe they already struck it before I could even get going a little bit. Oh man. But yeah, that's his story. He went to prison. He eventually was eventually found innocent, and he was released, and he was there to tell the story about what had happened. But she didn't apologize for what she did. She didn't take nothing back. It was just kind of like, oh well, you know, I got one out of the system, but not from lack of trying by Kamala Harris. She definitely tried. Now, when you think about other things that Kamala Harris was about, another thing that she was hard hitting on was marijuana charges. And I want to read an article pertaining to that now. This comes from Mercury News. And it says that the campaign fact check, here's how Kamala Harris really prosecuted marijuana cases. It says that, oh, this one is not even showing anything now. Come on now. Why are y'all tripping like this? Hold on. What's going on with this? All right. This comes from the San Francisco Chronicle. It says that Kamala Harris' position on marijuana has evolved. Now she should explain how and why. The site of Vice President Kamala Harris urging the reform of cannabis laws Friday in the White House will prompt a lot of eye rolls from dubious Californians old enough to remember when Harris was anti-weed prosecutor in her home state less than a decade ago. When Californians voted to legalize cannabis for adult recreational use in 2016, then Attorney General Harris didn't take a position. 6 years earlier, she actively opposed a different legalization measure, and San Francisco's district attorney, her prosecutors convicted more than 1,900 people for weed violations. And when reporters pointed out that her 2014 Republican opponent for attorney general supported legalization, she laughed and said he's entitled to his opinion. So now she is up here being seen with Fat Joe. Fat Joe supposedly is supposed to be a representative, I guess, of the Black community. I don't get why she has Fat Joe of all people to talk to him about the weed situation, but she's using the platform, you know, of vice presidency to have a roundtable to talk about so-called marijuana reform, because she knows she has a past talking about those convictions, and she wants to get out of the heat of that. So let's look at what happened with this meeting with Fat Joe recently.
Moderated, into the streets, hear you out. You know, I'm very big on healthcare, price, transparency. But today, when the vice president calls me, I stop everything. So I came to hear this out. I'm sure it's going to be a very impactful meeting to hear all your impactful stories. And we're going to keep this intimate, as I was asked. So, press, we thank you for being here. But
hold on, I'm going to give a statement too.
Okay.
But I thank you, Fat Joe, for being here and taking the time, really, for your voice on so many critical issues. In addition to the gift of your artistry, I thank you for being here. Governor Beshear, thank you. I said earlier to the group at the table that you have been an extraordinary leader in many ways, not only for the people of Kentucky, but nationally. And on this issue, I would like to just publicly applaud and thank you for being so forward-leaning around having the courage to challenge certain traditions and critically evaluate whether what we have been doing is smart and what can we do to be smarter. And your leadership, I think, is inspirational to a lot of others. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I will say that I believe that the promise of America includes equal justice under the law. And for too many, our criminal justice system has failed to live up to that core principle. And I say that with full knowledge of how this system has worked, including my experience as a prosecutor. The President and I have addressed inequities through implementation of long overdue criminal justice reforms. For example, we have, at the federal level, banned chokeholds. We have restricted no-knock warrants and created the first ever database to track misconduct by law enforcement. This is critically important. That last piece, the first piece may be obvious, but as we know, all too often we have seen examples of where a police officer has been found to have committed misconduct in one region, but then can move to another region, and that record does not follow that individual. And then, of course, the same behavior repeats itself. So the fact that we have made a commitment to having that kind of database is really very significant in the push toward ensuring that we have justice in the criminal justice system. We have also been focused on reentry. Some of the work that I started back when I was DA of San Francisco in 2005, looking at what we must do to appreciate the fact that folks who have been held accountable through the criminal justice system should also have an opportunity, once they have done their time, have paid their due, to have the ability to re-enter and be productive and do what they aspire to do, which is to help support their families and live a productive life. To that end,
again, she's doing a cleanup job. She knows that she's had a terrible history with marijuana charges imposed on the Black community. Petty marijuana charges that managed to get over 1,900 people locked up due to her tenure as the DA. And now she's sitting up here acting brand new. Now she's sitting up here acting like she never did none of those things, that she's a reasonable person, that she would never be unreasonable about something so petty as marijuana, but that's what she was on about 10 years ago. So I really want to point this fact out, how fake and phony this woman is. She is not who you think she is, but just listen to her lie.
A few things that we have done that are very significant. One is we have now and recently announced making small business administration loans available to previously incarcerated individuals. That is significant because before now, they were prohibited from being eligible for small business administration loans. And I have personally met many people who were formerly incarcerated, who are hardworking, who are intelligent.
Now she's acting like she's on the side of the people that were recently incarcerated, that she's looking out for them. Again, this is just a stunt, in my opinion. She's just trying to look good, trying to seem like she's not overbearing. She's not a micromanaging nutball, running around seeking people out to incarcerate them, which she did about 10 years ago. Now, again, she's acting brand new. This is very interesting.
Who are innovative and want an ability to be able to contribute to the economy of their community, need access to capital, could not have qualified for these loans, and now will be eligible. We have also expanded Pell Grants for individuals who are currently incarcerated. We know that there are many people who, while incarcerated, attempt to upgrade their education with an anticipation that when they are released, they will be able to put it to good use, but they are not necessarily able to afford the online courses that would help them do that. So the extension of Pell Grants to those who are currently incarcerated will facilitate more people being able to aspire and actually follow through on their dreams of of getting an education. We have also, through the Health and Human Services Department, expanded our ability and responsibility to get information to those who are currently incarcerated but soon to be released about the benefits that they are eligible for when they get out, in particular through Medicaid. Because we know that there is a moment between release and re-entering the community where we want to make sure these individuals have all the resources they need within a short period of time of release so that they can hit the ground running to live a productive life and re-enter their communities. We have also, through our administration, through Joe Biden's leadership, we have addressed inequities in federal drug policy, and that's the subject of today's meeting. Historically, there are many examples, frankly, of disparities that follow racial lines in the criminal justice system. One well-known example is the disparity around sentencing for crack versus powder cocaine. And what we know is that the disparity is such that it's almost 100 to 1 in terms of the kinds of sentences that people would be committed to for crack cocaine as opposed to powder cocaine. And historically, we know that certain communities would use crack cocaine versus powder cocaine because crack cocaine was just cheaper. We have also addressed what we need to do around clemency and to shorten some of the excessive crack cocaine sentences. Joe Biden has been very clear about his intention and actually practiced to do that, again, acknowledging the disparities that have existed and what we have the ability to do to correct some of those going forward. We have gathered today, however, to address specifically the injustices that we have seen in federal marijuana policy. I've said many times.
What she helped start, that's the part that cannot be forgotten. What she helped promote the arrest and the imprisonment or jailing of the people that were just simply smoking marijuana. She was partaking in making sure that they went to jail.
I think we all at this table believe nobody should have to go to jail for smoking weed. And what we need to do is recognize that far too many people have been sent to jail for simple marijuana possession. And
what about being sent to jail for a crime that they didn't commit? Like I try to show that video off of Vice, and you guys can check that out. The name of the guy that was sent to jail, prison, his name is Jamal Truelove. And this happened in 2008. Jamal Truelove was arrested in San Francisco. It was prosecuted by Harris' office for the murder of a friend. An appellate court found that the police officers had framed Truelove, and he was released after 6 years in prison. The city agreed to pay him a $13 million settlement. The former district attorney Stafford told Vice that prosecutions like Truelove's would have had to be approved by Harris, but the approval process was a rubber stamp, and it was highly unlikely she was familiar with the details. Harris has not publicly commented on Truelove's case. I just want you to know how she does things. Now, an attorney general in 2010, Harris' office also opposed the DNA testing requested by the lawyers for Kevin Cooper, who had been on the state's death row since 1985 for a quadruple murder he said he did not commit. And in 2018, after a New York Times article highlighted misconduct by police investigators in Cooper's case, Harris advocated for the state to allow the testing. A comprehensive investigation commissioned by the state did ultimately conduct DNA testing, concluding last year that the evidence of Cooper's guilt was extensive and conclusive. So in that case, she tried to do right, but I just wanted to show that in Jamal Truelove's case, though, he was accused of murdering his friend, and he was sent to jail for 6 years by Harris. by the prosecution of Harris. And she has yet to say anything about it. And now she's sitting up here having this discussion with Fat Joe, pretending that she really cares. I guess this is her version of talking to the Black community, or for the black community, because that's all we seem to get to talk about, marijuana and other things of that nature.
Have been sent to jail for simple marijuana possession. And the impact is such that, in particular, Black Americans and Latinos are four times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession. And the disparity is even larger when you talk about the subset of Black men and Latino men. So this is an issue that must be addressed. It is work that, again, I've done over the years. It is work that we are also doing as an administration. First, I will tell you that we have pardoned tens of thousands of people with federal convictions for simple marijuana possession. And today we are joined.
But why would it be federal? She helped those convictions to be federal in the first place. That's what I'm trying to say. She is the reason behind a lot of this stuff. And now she's trying to act like she is saving everybody. Like she is, all giving and knowing and helpful. And no, she wasn't like that 10 years ago.
Some of the pardon recipients, so that we can have a conversation about what this has meant for them as a model and inspiration for what we must do for many others who are not at this table. And their stories, I will tell you, are proof of the importance of pardons and what it means in the life of an individual in terms of allowing them a second chance and an ability to re-enter their community in a productive way. Second, we have issued a call to action for states to pardon these types of offenses, in particular on possession.
She can't even talk right because she's lying. She can't even get the words out because she's not being honest. She's not being genuine.
That's why I've asked the governor of Kentucky to be here, Governor Beshear, who has basically pardoned and has addressed the convictions of people in Kentucky with simple marijuana possession convictions, and they can now apply for pardons. So he's going to talk with us about that as a model for what other states can and should do, and I challenge other states to follow his lead. Third, we have directed the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Justice to reassess how marijuana is classified under the federal drug schedule. And I cannot emphasize enough that they need to get to it as quickly as possible. And we need to have a resolution based on their findings and their assessment. But this issue is stark when one considers the fact that on the schedule currently, marijuana is considered as dangerous as heroin. Marijuana is considered as dangerous as heroin and more dangerous than fentanyl, which is absurd, not to mention patently unfair. So I'm sure DA is working as quickly as possible and will continue to do so, and we look forward to the product of their work. And
if only she had this attitude 10 years ago, then I would believe her. But because when she was the DA and how she treated 1,900 plus people and imprisoning them or putting them in jail, I'm not buying this stunt, and I hope that you guys are not buying it either. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. I can't go all the way up for some reason. My phone is disallowing me to do so, but I want to say hello to everybody that's here. I know that Miss D is here. What's up to you? And every other person that's in the clouds. If you have not yet, please do me a favor by liking and sharing the video. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, after I read in the chat room, we're going to go through that police tape of Sonia Massey. Rest in peace to her. It's very shocking, but I really want to showcase that video on this live. A-Star says, I realize which channel I popped into, but I don't share your guys' opinion on this. Okay, you can have your opinion, Star. Nobody is trying to tell you or dictate to you how to feel. Daryl says, Joe uses a teleprompter. She reads notes. Okay. I don't pick my candidates based on their skin color. I consider that racist. A-Star says, You also said RFK Jr. represents the Black community pretty damn well, and he's lily white. Okay, you might want to hear what he has to say. As soon as I'm able to see what he's talking about, I'm sure I will bring him up. I haven't heard him in the news or anything, A-star. Salin Agur 69 says the only thing she has made as a VP is make 20 staffers guilt or quit rather. She made 20 staffers quit. Wow. Sound City Education says, I don't think she will make a difference for the Black community. No, she will not. She's going to be a thorn in our side. She will be ignoring us. And if not that, she might even consider hunting us down with stupid little petty things as before. I would not be surprised. Bob Cox says she can't lie her way out. We know. Exactly, Bob. A-star says it's easy to be an armchair politician. Apparently so, because that's what she has been as a vice president. What has she accomplished as the vice president, y'all? Let me know. What has she accomplished? She was not that border czar that she should have been. The most important job, she lost touch with that. A-star says, I'm a moderator. I'm not a moderate, rather. I am not a Democrat or Republican, so I don't mind calling a spade a spade. All right. And Nay says, yeah, our next woman Black president. She's not Black, and hopefully she will not be the next president. Stop lying, Nay. A-star says, I understand that there's specific politics, but but the shade of the person's skin isn't going to discern that. I think it's sad that you all are turning on her because she's mixed and don't like that she also identifies with her Indian heritage. I'm not turning on her because of her race. I'm turning on her for her lying about who she claims to be. She claims to be any other time Indian, and she claims to be Black or colored woman when it comes time for trying to be a president. So I don't like how she's moving. It's very deceptive. It's very trickery. It's a lie. Okay, hello, Mrs. President. I hope that's going to be a lie from the depths of hell. Not exactly, Bob. Who is she looking at? She's looking at her paperwork. Nothing about her shade but her intention. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. What is her intention? Okay, well, intentions does matter. Yeah, well, intention does matter, A-star. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about her color. I could care less, but don't lie about being Black just during this election. Stop lying. Let's go, Mrs. President. We need you and rooting for you. No, we're not. You're a lie. I'm not going to read your comments if you're going to keep saying stupid little stuff like that, Nene. I'm just going to bypass you, okay? Lynn Drew Williams, I can care less her being Black. We as a nation need help. This is a deeper than color. She's not Black, though. That's the thing. As you wish, says Word Salad. That's all she has. I honestly think her intentions are to help people, but I don't think she's right in how she's going about it. I don't believe nothing that she says. And Michael says her record speaks for herself. Exactly. Not a very good record. Worry about your own country, Nene. Exactly, Bob Cox. Exactly. Cindy, Lord Parker, while she knows her drugs, but not anything else. That's it. Because she probably was real good at using drugs with all the partying that she was doing with dealing with all kinds of different men as she made her way to the top. Allegedly. A-star says, if you're picking up on antisocial cues, I also want to point out that she does seem to have some signs of a autism spectrum. Okay. Robert says, I'm sorry, Cocker, you don't know what you're talking about. And Sound City says, actions are louder than words. That's what I say. And A-star says, I like when she does that high-pitched nervous laughter thing. I don't. It sounds scary. She should be in a scary film. A-star says, so just take that into account that some of her lack of social graces might be because of Asperger's or something like that, some type of disease you think she has. Okay. I don't think that that's the case. I think that She just don't know what she's doing. I think that she just drew up something on the drop of a dime, and she's not even familiar with what was drawn out for her to read. That's probably why she seemed like nervous, because she was not familiar with the stuff that she was reading, because it didn't come from her. J Man says she is a puppet. That's exactly what she is. She's reading off of somebody else's shit. It didn't come from her. She didn't think of that stuff on her own. Other people did it for her. A Star says, I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying it's something to keep an eye out for. Exactly. I agree. She's a puppet, but that is most politicians, A Star says. And Robert says, are you one of those weird black Republicans? No, I'm not a Republican, to be honest with you. I am an independent, but I will be voting for Trump this go around for the first time ever. I will be voting for a Republican because the border is out of control. And that's why I'm voting for Trump, because of the border. And I'm not a Trump fanatic or nothing like that. But the border needs to be controlled. And the only person that's willing to take control over the border is Trump. It will not be this Kamala Harris. A Star says, if you want to know where their loyalties lie, follow the money. Exactly. Nene says, I vote for the party, not the person. Y'all need to study your history. She can't do what Congress doesn't let her do. Make sure you vote for Congress also. Okay. Robert says, I did not inhale. Star says, I think you actually came across a group of conservative African Americans. I'm the white lady that comes in here because I like the conversation. I'm an independent, but I lean kind of conservative and somewhat liberal, but not too extreme with being liberal. I think being too liberal is toxic right now. We've been seeing too much of liberal policies that's been placed in our community, and it's not doing us good at all. FJB, Kali Rachel says, I don't know what that means. Trump 2024 says, Kali, yes, exactly. Trump way better, exactly. Nene says, how about stop doing illegal stuff and not condemn her for doing her job? Well, again, marijuana suddenly is not so dangerous after all, and it should have been depicted as such way before now. So I believe it's just her and her mentality and how she looked at how she was going to get some people locked up. That was her mentality, not mine. So talk about her, not me. A Star says, I care about all American rights. I believe in uniting our country, not dividing it. I understand what you mean by that, but there's a lot of stuff that has to be done that might not seem as pleasant, to the ear or to the eyes, like when a lot of these illegals are going to get back to their home countries. I'm sure a lot of people are going to feel some way about it, but it has to happen because there's just too many people over here. We cannot have a whole country full of flooding illegals throughout the country without somebody doing something about it at some point. So it might not seem like it's the right thing to do, but it is the right thing to do. J Man says, if you honestly believe that she was just doing her job, you are also blind and it's time to wake up. I know she definitely was out to get people. She was out to get people in the community. She knew who she was targeting. She knew who was going to affect the most. She knows that mostly Black Americans smoke marijuana. She targeted that block of people. And now she's trying to clean it up like she never did anything. Nene says she had a job and she was paid by people she represented. They all act like they saving everybody. Yeah, I don't know about all that. She ain't saving nobody. Oh my God, she failed California. She definitely failed California. That's what I'm saying. The sentiment, and I do live in California, is that she can't be trusted. That is the sentiment in California for the most part. J Man says, look at her record. Everything that she has done has been a failure. Exactly. She is a word salad liar, as you wish says. Nene says, so to fix it all, vote for the party, not the person. That's what they're doing for Trump. Exactly. Vote for Trump, y'all, because he is going to fix the economy. He is going to fix the border. He's going to get our economy back and running smooth. He's not going to allow us to continue down recession. And I think that he's the better pick, in my opinion. As you wish says, at least Trump can think for himself. Exactly. And he garners respect around the world. People are not going to try Trump. They're going to try Kamala Harris. Many other countries are going to try her, test her. We don't need that as a president. We don't need it. And there was a time it was illegal, but now it's legal in most states, and it should probably be federally legalized. I think it should be federally recognized and legalized everywhere. You don't know what she's doing or how genuine she is, being as you prophet or facial evaluation. Nene says, no, I can tell by her spirit, Nene. You can actually tell by the spirit, and I can tell that she's a phony, fake individual that is holding on, reading her script, and hoping that nobody notices. Trump 2024, exactly, the president, Donald Trump. I wish that was you, but I know you're not. But yeah, Trump 2024. But my question to you all is, how are we going to handle the fentanyl crisis? Because that stuff is seriously killing people, A-Star says. Man, it's everywhere. I think that they're lacing marijuana and other drugs now too with it. Bob Cox says, another script writer, no thanks. You say Harris 2024, I say Trump 2024, Nene. Grind hard, trash bag gang, laughing out loud. I'm sure Kamala is a facial evaluator. How is she getting here? I don't know. A-Star says, RFK Jr. seems to have a good plan for the fentanyl crisis. Have you heard the other two speaking on the issue? Does anyone know what they have to say on this problem? I have yet to hear. What did you do 10 years ago? What do you mean by that? Anyways, the president, Donald Trump, says she kept black men in prison on weed charges for free labor. She owned slaves. Exactly. That's exactly right, the president, Donald Trump. I wish that was you. That would be so funny if that was you. No, she won't win, Nene. Sorry about that. Yes, she's not exactly a good person. No, she's not, A-Star. I think that stems from her, doesn't actually stand for anything. Exactly. Now, I can't read all these comments just yet because that's going to throw out the live. So let me now go to the main part of this live. I want to now showcase Sonia's videotape, and we can watch that. Let me just find that real quick. If you have not yet, please like and share the video. I would greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please share this video. And I know that most people have heard of Sonia Massey losing her life by the police officer, but I wonder, did all of you guys see the videotape of what happened? So we're going to review that now. If you can, please, for the ones that are real sensitive to gory stuff, if you can't watch violent stuff, just be aware that this is coming up in this video. So you'll get a chance to get off the live if you don't handle negative, violent stuff and bloody stuff. Now, the reason why she was called, I'm going to read this now. The following video consists of body-worn camera footage from two Sangamon County Sheriff's deputies responding to the home of Sonia Massey, who called 911 on July 6 to report a possible prowler. Deputy Sean, hold on. Where did that go? All right. this the right video? Hold on, something just happened. Come on. All right, I'm just going to play the video because I can't read the whole thing. It keeps on tripping. Sonia Massey is who we're talking about. The police or the deputies have arrived to her residency. And during the interaction inside the home, Miss Massey, former Deputy Sean Grayson, discharged his firearm, striking Miss Massey and killing her. This interaction was captured on a body-worn camera video. And this happened July 6 around 1:43 a.m. This county sheriff's office notified the Illinois State Police ISP and requested assistance to conduct an independent investigation into the shooting. And so we're going to look at the video now. So they're outside looking around. Again, the call was for a prowler. So they're looking outside to see if they can find a man around the premises. They're checking around the premises. So far, this looks like a normal call where they're just checking around the premises, checking around outside. He's making his way to the house, though, eventually. I think he's about to arrive right now. So a car has been messed with, broken into. He just noticed a car broken into. So just to note that the officers or deputies just checked around the premises to see if there was a prowler. One thing that I noticed is that one of the cars was broken into. The windshield was, or the side of the window was cracked. It looked like the car was broken into a little bit. I don't know if he's going to ask that question or not, but I just want to note that I did see a car that was messed with outside. So maybe she heard the sound of someone trying to break into the car. I don't know what drew her to call 911 to begin with, but that's just something that I just observed. Let's see what's about to happen.
On the back door. I don't know if it's hers. What happened? I'm gonna try and call 17 back here and let her know where I'm from. Yes, that's set up good.
So already the officers have knocked on the door. She hasn't opened the door just yet. I don't know if the officer or the deputy is getting a little bit antsy from waiting. It doesn't feel like, he might be patient, but let's see if that's why he might be agitated or not.
Anybody out walking out? No, not when I came in. I didn't see anybody out. I hear her phone ringing. She's busy at the door.
Again, I noticed that they are getting a little bit agitated. They're a little bit, not patient. I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she went to the bathroom. I don't know. Just keep that in mind.
Sheriff's office.
It is a little bit annoying that, if you do call 911, you probably should be expecting the cops to come to your door at some point. So to be fair, she should have been a little bit attentive to the cops coming. Maybe it could have changed the demeanor of the officers that are waiting. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
She was yelling inside. She's going to hold on. Are you coming to the door or not?
All right.
See, they're getting agitated. As I said, it seemed like they would, and they're saying, "Are you coming to the door or not?" So they're already a little bit peeved.
Hurry up. Sheriff's office. One you called. You're calling us. So what'd you hear?
Somebody jumped from the house.
Is this your car over here? Is this your car over here? Oh. That's not your black car in the driveway? Oh, well, we checked your yard, we walked around the whole block, we didn't see anybody. We don't. We checked the whole area, nobody else walked around.
I know y'all. I'm trying to get help, y'all.
What do you need help with?
I don't know why her disposition is kind of not aware that the cops are there to do the help that she's calling for. She seems a little bit scattered, a little bit. That's not no reason to get shot, but she is a little bit scatterbrained.
Doing what? What do you need help with?
Nothing. I just wanted to see if I could help.
What do you want help with? What do you want help with?
I heard somebody outside.
Yeah, we checked your house, we checked your backyard. I walked all the way through all these backyards. We checked your front yard. We didn't see nobody. Nobody's out here.
You didn't see anybody.
Nope. Check the whole area. It'll take you so long to answer the door.
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry. I was trying to
I gotcha. All right. Is there anything else we can do for you? Is there anything else?
People, just, if you call the cops, be ready. That's one thing I can say she did wrong. Be ready. There is no sense for you to call the cops and go lounge around naked. Why do that? So she should have taken the call of 911 a lot more serious than what she did. So I could say that, in my opinion, she was not prepared to call 911. And you should be prepared when you call people.
I can do for you?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure? All right. All right. That's not your black car, though. SUV? Who's this? You don't know? If someone just parked it in your driveway?
When the cops come, please stay off your phone. If you don't need to be on the phone playing around, it's very disrespectful to call the cops and be on your phone, looking into the phone, not being prepared. You cannot do that when you call the cops. You have to be very mindful of how you're going to be depicted as. When they come and look at you, they're going to be evaluating you too. So you need to be on the up and up, y'all. Please.
Just left it? Yeah, I'm sure of that. Yeah. 19 out of 20, please. David Mary 43556.
One second, okay?
This is what I don't understand. The cops are there to help her, and she's trying to act like she needs to have other reinforcement besides the cops that are there. And so she's acting a little bit scatterbrained, like I said. I don't know, maybe she's nervous, but it appears or it seems like she's scatterbrained by the people that's watching her, the cops. And you always have to be mindful of how the cops are going to be looking at you, because they're evaluating anyone in front of their faces. So they're looking at her, they're looking around, they're seeing her house is not really kept up. They're looking at her, maybe she's kind of mentally ill. That's how they're trying to look at her right now, in my opinion.
Grab that Bible, please.
Hey, I just need your name so we can get out of here. Was there any damage previous to your car?
Previous, yeah.
What was the damage?
Dent, I believe.
But what about windows?
Oh, that it was something that happened earlier.
Okay, perfect. What is your last name? Shouldn't have to say much last name.
So he's asking her about a car that was broken or looked like it was broken into. And she's like, it just happened earlier. She's not even concerned about the car. I mean, maybe that might be partly why someone's prowling around to see if they can finish the job of trying to steal a car or something like that. And she is totally not aware of why the cops are there or what they could be doing to help her out.
Massey. Do you have an ID? That'd make things so much easier. I just driver's license will do, and I'll get out of your hair.
I want to show y'all my paperwork.
What paperwork? What paperwork?
I got some paperwork.
Well, just get your ID. Well, let's get your ID first, and then one task at a time.
Okay.
Okay, you have your ID for me.
Okay.
Your ID. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID
You
is.
have a stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
Again, they're looking at her as being scatterbrained. I can feel like they're like, she's a little bit off. She's a little bit touched is what they're thinking right now.
We don't need a fire around here. What are your hot standing water? Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. It just happened so quickly. Oh, wow. Why did it take it off of there? Hold on. He said that immediately he was going to shoot her in her face. Hold on. Let me find that again. Oh my God. That was so quick. Oh my God. Let's see that again.
Hey, one task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
You have a stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
We don't need a fire around here. What are your hot standing water? Yeah. Better fucking not. I swear to God, I'll fucking shoot you in your fucking face. The fucking pot.
Wow. So she had the pot in her hand, and I believe he was thinking that she was a little bit kooky, in my opinion. It's no excuse, though, to shoot her in her face like that. He was far enough away to where that water could not have touched him anyways. That was a little bitty pot. Let's see it again.
We don't need a fire around here. my kid. Headshot, dude. You're done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot. God damn it. God, fuck. Hey, dude, I'm not taking fucking bullet in order to fucking head. Hey, look, it fucking came right to our feet, too. God damn it. Fuck. God damn it. You good? I'm good. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Let her fucking just... God, that's not what you do, man. Fuck. You good? All right. Fuck.
That pot of water could not have reached that cop even if she flung it. She couldn't have, with that little bitty pot, I don't think the water would have reached him. He over responded, but I think he thought she was mental. I think because of how her house is looking, how scatterbrained she was acting, how unprepared she was before the cops got there, gave them the conclusion that she was a scatterbrained mental case. He over responded. He did not have to shoot her in the face, for God's sake. But let's listen to what he says now.
You know, what else do we do? I'm not taking hot boiling water to fucking face. They've already reached us. Fuck. They got a 52 en route? Yeah. Hurry, get your med kit. They're not letting you do. We're going to at least try and stop the blood.
Wow. Wow. We can get back to the rest of that a little bit later. It's kind of traumatic, and that is terrible. I mean, she could have just turned the fire off and said, let me go back to getting my ID. I don't understand why she took forever just to turn the fire off and get away from the pot of water and not even play around like that. But she did not deserve to have that happen to her, though. And I really feel it's because of how they looked at her when she took forever to get to the door, how she responded when she opened the door, and how she was acting when they were inside of there. She was seemingly like someone scatterbrained. I don't know if that's how you guys took it or not. How do you guys take what she was doing or how she was perceived? And does that have anything to do with clearing the deputy of what he did? I don't think so. What is Kamala Harris going to do about this? Is she going to say anything about this? I don't know. I have not heard anything yet. Let me see what you guys are saying before I continue. I can't read all of these comments, unfortunately, because there's so many, but I will start in the middle a little bit. Lynn says the woman ducked under the counter and he started shooting. The cop is nuts. Yeah, he made sure to shoot her. He didn't have to. Even pointing the gun to her was enough. Tiffany says they keep pointing guns. Exactly, they keep pointing guns. Miss Bronze Goddess says they didn't put when she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That's why the demon shot her. I didn't hear that either. Everybody else said that that's what she said. I have to find a video where she said that. I didn't see that. Tasha says, He told her to turn off the pot and you need to stop making assumptions. Well, she should have just went over there without being instructed on what to do in the damn kitchen. She should have just went and turned off the pot and went right back in there to get her ID. She was, like I said, scatterbrained. Clifton Subber says you better get your spiritual lenses checked. Miss Bronze Goddess says sick MFers. Brandine says when the cops were backing up, she asked why. And they said because she has the boiling water. And she made a joke about throwing it on them. You people love making assumptions after the fact. I didn't hear her say anything about joking about throwing the water, but maybe that's what happened. But everybody keeps saying that she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus or something like that. I didn't hear that part. Let's play that again. Hold on. Since you're saying that, let me see if I can hear that. Hold on. We're going to go back to that again. Hold on. We're going to go back. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Hold on. Again, she was acting scatterbrained. She was given the impression like she was a mental person from what I'm seeing.
Last name. You're not in trouble. I just need to touch. Massey. Yeah, you have an ID that make things so much easier. I just need just driver's license will do, and I'll get out of your hair.
I'm gonna show y'all my paperwork.
I will get your paperwork. What paperwork?
I got some paperwork.
We'll just get your ID. Well, let's get your ID first, and then one task at a time. Okay. Okay, have your ID for me.
Okay.
Your ID, one task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
You have a stack right there, maybe?
1 second.
Check my curve. We don't need a fire alarm here.
Okay, so there she is. Oh, she did say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus right there, y'all. Right there. So she did say, I rebuke you. I wish she just would have turned the fire off and set the pot to the side. Why did she have to lift up the pot? Oh my God. All she had to do was turn off the fire. I still don't think that she deserved to get shot in the face, though. But I do believe she handled herself not really correct from the beginning. She was not prepared when she called 911. She didn't answer the door right when they were there. She seemed a little bit off and unbalanced or unstable or confused or something.
Now, authorities in the United States have released body cam video of the police officer shooting a black woman inside her home. It happened in Illinois after 36-year-old Sonia Massey called police to report a suspected intruder in her home. The video shows the two officers entering her house, following her into the kitchen. Police then shout at her to put down a pot of boiling water as they point their guns. Massey was transported to the hospital where she eventually died of her injuries. The officer who shot her in the head has since been fired and is facing charges of murder and official misconduct. Now, President Joe Biden has condemned the shooting in a statement on X. He said, "When we call for help, all of us as Americans, regardless of who we are or where we live, should be able to do so without fearing for our lives." He said Sonia's death at the hands of a responding officer reminds us that all too often Black Americans face fears for their safety in ways many of the rest of us do not. He added that Congress must pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act now. Let's get more on this from Shiab Ratansi, who's live for us in Washington. And Shiab, I've watched the entirety of this body cam footage. It is incredibly hard to watch. It's very disturbing. What sort of reaction has there been now that it's been released to the public?
Outrage, as you can imagine, because once again, we have an incident where the testimony of the police officer who carried out the shooting, almost execution style there in that video, is completely at odds with what we see in the video. The officer, whose own body cam was switched off during the incident, he switched it on after the incident and then gave his account of it, where he suggests, as police officers often do after shootings, that he felt his life was in danger, that Massey was about to throw a pot of boiling or hot water on his head. But of course, that is...
And the only reason why he would think such a thought if he thought that she was kind of mental. And that's what I think that he is going to say about Sonia Massey. I believe he's going to argue that she was a loose cannon, that she was exhibiting mental type of situations to where he could not determine if she was all right mentally. I bet y'all.
We see in the body cam video of the colleague of the officer who fired the shots. What we see there, though, is a woman pleading for her life, effectively saying sorry, and crouching as Grayson, the officer who shot Massey, fires point blank into her head. So yeah, once again we see what we often hear about, that the police frankly lying allegedly about what happened, but we do have the body cam video in this case.
And it's also worth highlighting that she was the one who actually called the police officers to her home. She was worried about an intruder.
Right, there's so many cases of this when black people call for help and then are shot. Lots of times where people are checked up on them if they have illnesses and things like that, and they wind up dead. At least in this case, though, the authorities have moved relatively swiftly. This just happened a little over 2 weeks ago. As you mentioned, Grayson has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, official misconduct. He faces 45 years to life for the murder charges. He's been fired from the force, but as we know, it's so rare it's rare for officers even to be prosecuted, let alone, but for them to be convicted is so rare, because all it takes is one person on a jury to believe an officer who says, look, you weren't there. You don't know how much danger that I felt while I was there. And therefore, I feared for my life, and that's why I shot. So that's why so many do get off, if even they are prosecuted in the first place. And in the meantime, it is worth noting, though, that last year we had a record high of the number of killings by police officers, with black people killed 2.6, 2.8 times more often than white people, but still very rarely are these cases prosecuted all these years after the Black Lives Matter protests led to the largest protests in U.S. history on the streets.
Okay, thank you. Shia Bratansi there for us in Washington. We can speak now to Jay Wendell Gordon. He's a civil rights attorney. He joins us live from Baltimore in Maryland. First, I want to start by getting your reaction to this body cam footage.
Yeah, the Sonia Massey shooting was one of the most ghastly events that I've seen in a very long time. It was completely unnecessary, completely unjustified, and quite frankly, incomprehensible and viciously malicious. It was a very malicious shooting.
The police officer who shot Sonia Massey has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and is currently being held without bond until his trial. What would it take, what sort of sentence would it take for you to feel like justice has been done?
Life. I don't believe in the death penalty, but if ever I did, that would be a case for the death penalty. But life imprisonment is probably too good for this gentleman, but I'd settle for that.
And we heard from our correspondent there, rarely are in instances like this do we see police officers facing prosecution. Why do you think that is?
Because prosecuting police officers sometimes can be very dangerous for the prosecutor politically. We saw what happened to Marilyn Mosby in our great city of Baltimore, how the federal government actually came after her because of her being one of the first prosecutors to go after police officers for their wrongdoing. And then there's so much protection for police officers. The law really coddles police officers in the performance of their duties. They have immunities that apply to civil cases, and they just have their own set of laws that apply to them because they are charged with law enforcement, and it's a dangerous job.
And because Kamala Harris was a prosecutor, I wonder how she would have fared with this case. How does she fare with this case? Has she spoken about this case? I know that the father has spoken. I want to play a snippet of what he had to say. It's just unfortunate. I really felt, by watching it, her response, though, in the beginning, her not being ready, really set in motion the people to be anxious, those deputies to be anxious and looking at her like she was off. That's what I see. I don't know if you guys depicted that or thought about that, but she still was not deserving of being shot in her face. He should have just backed up a little bit and said, hey, put the pot down. All she had to do was turn the pot off, but she didn't do that. And I don't know why. That's all she had to do was just turn the pot up. There was no reason to lift up the pot. But that does not justify him shooting her, though. Irregardless of how off she was or scatterbrained she was, because that's how she seemed, scatterbrained.
A woman killed by a sheriff's deputy after she called 911 asking for help. Now, the body cam footage, we showed it to you earlier, shows the encounter between 36-year-old Sonia Massey and Deputy Sean Grayson in Springfield, Illinois. The mother of 2 had called 911 to report a suspected prowler outside her home earlier this month. Grayson has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. Joining us now is Sonia's father. His name is James Wilburn, along with civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who is representing the family. Good morning to you both. I want to start with you, Mr. Wilburn, because this video that we saw earlier was heartbreaking to those of us who didn't even know Sonia. I cannot imagine what it's like for you to have known your daughter the way that you did. And I know when these stories happen, it's just another story in the news. But for you, I always say the victim was somebody's everything. So before we get into the details of the case, please tell us what she was like and what you're missing most about her. Who was she?
She was one of my 4 daughters. I don't think that looking at that tape with my old heart from before 2022, I had quadruple heart bypass surgery and I suffered from congestive heart failure. But I don't think my old heart could have taken this.
You know, I'm hearing that you were told conflicting stories. What were you told, the circumstances of this shooting?
Well, I was never told that it was a deputy-involved shooting. We were under the impression that she was killed by the intruder or some other person from the street or something, and they just went in there and found her dead body. I did not find out that the deputies killed her until my brother asked for Sonia's address, and I gave it to him. And he said, "Brother, this says deputies involved." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" But we were all misled to believe that. And then there was a story that this was a self-inflicted gunshot.
Oh my goodness.
So I think the cover-up started from just right after it happened. Thank God for the body camera footage. It's probably the most horrible and heart-wrenching thing that we've ever seen in our lives. But if it were not for the body cam footage, we would not have known that this occurred.
Yes, I say thank goodness too for that body cam footage, because we in the video it clearly shows she was not approaching him with steaming hot water, number one, which is what he said at the beginning. When he was asked about the gun, clearly there was no gun. She had said to the officer, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," which seemed to set him off. What do you think she meant? What does that mean? What was going on that you think that she would say those words to him?
I think that she feared for her life. There was some premonition that she had. And it seems like he was just an emissary of Satan. And that's what caused him to do what he did. It's just unexplainable.
Yeah.
Attorney Crump, it's Vlad here. I want to ask you about the reports that Officer Grayson was now working at his 6th police department in just under 4 years. What have you learned about that? And to the point that Mr. Wilburn is making and that Gail was just talking about, what does it say to you that the first thing that we hear Officer Grayson say after he has killed Sonia is, "She was coming at me with boiling water"?
You know, it's just no justification, no matter what he tries to say. We see this video with our own eyes. And Vlad, this is one of the worst videos of a police shooting ever. I mean, he did not have to shoot her. And you see him, even though he's trying to say he wasn't going to have this boiling water get to him, he actually walks around the counter and engages to get a better shot. And that's what the state attorney's investigation found, that he actually engaged her. He could have done so many things to not shoot her in the face. He could have backed up. He could have used taser. I mean, it was the size difference. Vlad and Gail, he's over two times as big as her. She's 5'1", 110 pounds. He's like 6'5", 260 pounds. It's just senseless and god-awful.
Mr. Crump, it's Tony.
It is another shooting, again, that did not have to happen. I'm really sorry that Sonia Massey had to lose her life like that. Rest in peace to her. Condolences to the family and friends of Sonia Massey. She didn't deserve to have that happen. I just wish that us as Black people, I understand a lot of us have a history of not trusting cops. I wish that we would handle cops a way in which would not give them any room for looking at us a certain way. Not being prepared when the cops first get to the door, I believe really was a spark to agitate the cops before they even entered into her house. They were already agitated. It does not make it right, though, because she was a little bit off or scatterbrained to do what they did. And that's my first time seeing a video like that. But I cannot imagine being shot in your face like that. And that's just so horrific. But my question to y'all, how do you think a Harris, Kamala Harris administration would handle such a case? With her DA and prosecutor background, do you honestly believe that she would side with the Black woman that was shot in the face? Or do you think she would have blown it off, ignored it? I know that Biden said what he said at the end of the video, but I don't believe that Kamala Harris would have done any much more to make sure that the cop would be held accountable for what he did. I don't trust Harris as far as her background is concerned. I think that she would have gave the cop benefit of the doubt, would have just let him go, and would have just had our community very upset. I think that she would have defended the cops. That's how I feel. Let me see what you guys are saying. I can't read all these comments. Unfortunately, there's just way too many people in here, but I appreciate everybody for being here. If you have not yet, please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Don Hayes says, didn't she say, okay, I'm sorry? And she proceeded to put down the pot. Yes, she was trying to, but she should have known not to pick up that pot. I mean, I just would have turned off the fire and said, can I get my ID now, sir? A-Star says, Pinky, I understand that you have that little wrench next to you, so you think you can talk to someone any way you want. Well, anyone could talk their own opinion, just don't be rude. But you guys can have your own opinion. We don't have to have an echo chamber in this chat room. I'm sure that a lot of people have their own thoughts about if the cop is guilty or not. My opinion is he is guilty, but it's also my opinion that she should have been more prepared and she should not have been a little off like she was. And I don't know if it's because she was scared of the cops or if something was mentally going on with her to begin with. I don't have that knowledge. A-Star says, but don't tell me what I can and cannot be concerned about. Okay, you guys are going back and forth. Pinky says she had history of mental illness. When the officers arrived, one of them asked her about her mental health. Sounded like they were familiar with her. Oh, I didn't hear that, Pinky. You heard that? She seemed like she had a mental illness to me. She seemed like she had anxiety issues, and maybe she was, I don't know if she was schizophrenic, but she seemed anxiety riddled and kind of just off a little. A-Star said he was cursing at her and she's old school. Her saying, I rebuke you with a pot of water was not the best thing to do. I don't know what possessed her to do that, but that still did not merit him shooting her in the face, though. A-Star also says, of course, she tried to throw the pot of water at him. You don't talk to old ladies like that. I don't think she was going to throw water on to the cops. I don't think that she knows that that water was not going to reach the cops. A-Star says, she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus because of his curse words. Is that what happened, Star? He cussed at her? All he had to do was act professional. I must have to go back to that and see it again. I didn't hear him cuss. Pinky says, A-Star, you are probably in the wrong chat room. That's what I assume. And yes, I have a wrench, but I let the ignorant thoughts flow. Love to know what's in here. She had mental issues. What is his excuse, cursing an old lady like that? She's not an old lady, A-Star. She was 36 years old. How is that an old lady? I'm not the one being ignorant. You are. You literally okay, I'm not going to read you guys for a while because y'all are back and forth. Easy X says, do by saying the name of Jesus got her killed, make that make sense? That was a little bit ironic. Because I've been arrested by the cops for being a good Samaritan and stopping an attack on someone, have you? A-Star asked. Rest in peace. Yes, rest in peace to Sonia Massey, Lynn. Thank you for that again. Harris would defend the police. That's what I think. Pinky says Kamala would let him walk. Her past work tells you what what she would do. Exactly. That's my point in asking the question about her. DAs are 100% pro pigs. Exactly. I've been focused on geopolitics lately, not domestic politics, so this didn't show up in my feeds, A-Star says. Gab says, remember, cops are trained. Yeah, they're supposed to know how to de-escalate things. I think that they should have said, just please put the pot down and walk away from the pot. Please put the pot down and walk away from the pot. That's all he had to say. A-Star says, you don't train someone once and then leave them to their own devices. You make sure that they test their skills at least once a year to make sure that their skills didn't deteriorate. C1200 says that's exactly what Cheetos Man wants to do. Let cops do what they want to do. Cheetos Man? Oh, you calling Trump Cheetos Man? Oh, no, you didn't. C1200. A-Star says they need to be tested each year to make sure that they have the proper responses and that they didn't develop some kind of PTSD from scrapping people's bodies off the streets. Wow. They need yearly psychiatric evaluations to make sure that they didn't turn into some kind of effing psychos from the traumas they explained. Hey, what's up, African Goddess? You said not sure there is anything you can do to prepare for the police. Yeah, there is, African Goddess. You could be ready when the cops arrive. It took about 6-7 minutes before she opened the door. They were banging on the door. They were ringing the doorbell. They were calling her. They were calling for her, saying that we're out here. She was getting dressed. Why wouldn't you immediately get dressed once you call 911? Why would you make the cops wait for you? You called 911, you should know they're coming ASAP. She was not prepared. She should have been dressed already and at the door waiting for the cops to come. That's my only thing that I saw what she did wrong, not being ready. Pinky says, when they first arrived on the front porch is when he asked her about her mental health. He cussed at her after she picked up the pot. Okay, do you guys want to see it again? And firing the bad ones, A-Star says. He cursed her and escalated the citation. Jamie says, the Quinn says he was a demon. She said that as to say this house wasn't going to catch fire. And also he kept asking her about that car after she told him what happened, sick of folks. She didn't remember, or she wasn't concerned about the window being cracked on the car. And he was more interested in the car because it looked like somebody was trying to break in that car. That's why he kept asking about it. And she was like, oh, it just recently happened. And that's pretty much all she said. A-Star says our martial arts class can teach you how to contain your adrenaline so it doesn't take over and you don't make dumb reactions. African Goddess says, not sure Harris would defend the police given the footage. Then again, I don't have firsthand knowledge of U.S. Golden Brown says she was mental, but that was murder. Yes, she was definitely mental, but that was definitely murder, Golden Brown. A-Star says, these are the people that respond to the domestic violence cause. These are the people scraping bodies off the road. These are the people who see kids get murdered. Exactly. Give them all the help and make sure psychopaths don't make it in. I've heard that this guy has had a really bad rap record when it comes to working, that he was let go from a lot of different other jobs that were like police type of jobs, or more or less the same type of work he's doing now, and that he should not have been allowed to be a deputy in the first place. And I'm pretty sure all this information is going to come up, y'all. Monique says there's a fund for the police when they get in trouble, so it looks like they don't give a damn now. That's crazy. Golden Brown, I agree with you, Murder, Monique says. Easy Act says you don't have to answer the door for cops. Even if you do answer the door, you still don't have to let them in. Well, if you called 911, I think that you should talk to the cops. So what's the point of calling Easy X? Why call the cops and have them just outside milling around like that? I think that you should be a little bit more respectful and prepared. That's all I'm saying. But if she has a mental condition, that's why she wasn't mentally able to cope. That's what it looks like. A-Star says, seriously, they need to be seeing shrinks regularly. And if a shrink says that the person has narcissistic personality disorder or falls under psychopath, any of that S, they shouldn't be allowed to become cops, A-Star says. African Goddess says she wasn't well. She should not have been shot. I agree with A-Star. The cops may have had his own mental health issues. It seems like it. He's a narcissist. And I felt like they were getting triggered while they were waiting on the porch. It felt like they were getting upset about waiting outside like that. Miss Two says he told her to get the pot. That was a setup. Yeah, that could be true. I'm going to watch it one more time, y'all. I'm going to go through this one more time with y'all. Just let me finish some more of these chats, conversations. Pinky says that officer should have never been hired. He had problems at 3 other departments before working there. Wow. Pinky says that's what it looked like to me. Coolin with Laura says, all I'm trying to say is it takes 2 years to be a hairstylist, only 6 months to be a cop. Oh, wow. That's terrible then, if it's that easy to become a cop. I agree with you, Laura. John says ignored. Exactly. A-Star says they need more training and more pay. They also need to be constantly monitored, regular psychological evaluations, regular training to make sure that they don't lose what they learned. Christopher says that woman was clearly crazy. The cops went in to see why she was acting so weird. They were being nice to her the whole time till she threatened them with the boiling water. We're going to watch it one more time, Christopher. I know she was acting weird, and I think that she was having a lot of anxiety issues. She was fearful of the cops, apparently. These people deal with the worst parts of society. They see the worst in humanity, and they see it on a regular basis. They need to be supported if they are the good ones, A-Star says. They need to be removed immediately if they're bad. Exactly. Eddie says, Trump train. Trump train? Yeah, I say we need Trump more than we need some damn Harris. That's for damn sure. African Goddess says, someone threatens you and you immediately kill them. Really? Yeah, that's a little bit off. A-Star says that man had pepper spray and a taser. Trust and believe he could have used that instead of his gun. Exactly. Why is that the first thing that cops go to? You got pepper spray, like you said, the good kind. Pinky says the officer that shot her went there agitated. He was agitated at the porch, on the porch. In fact, I'm almost done. Let's look at it one more time. A-Star says if he was genuinely trying to stop her from throwing boiling water on him and he wanted to use a weapon, he had a pepper spray. That's right. Easy Act says just because you call the police department and speak with a dispatcher does not mean you have to talk to a responding cop. Easy Act says. I beg to differ, Easy Act. I think that it's only right to tell the cops what is going on, why the call, why have cops just hanging out on the porch. I beg to differ. I just don't think that's the right thing to do. but he still went too far. Yes, A-Star, he chose a gun. He chose violence. A-Star says, and because he was off or scatterbrained or special or psychologically going through some esh, that means you give them more grace, not less. Exactly. You show them more love, not less. Exactly. Pinky says she didn't threaten him. The officer that shot her told her to take it off the stove, and when she did, he cussed and shot her. We're going to watch it one more time. Star says if they are displaying signs of mental health issues, you show more patience, not less. Miss 2 says he has already made racial assumptions when knocking. He said she's probably getting rid of the drugs. What? He said that? I got to listen to that in the beginning again. She attacked his ego and he attacked her life, Star says. Monique says they go to the gun because it's more permanent. Star says that is not a proportionate response. 1200 says the more you watch, the more you'll find out that she wasn't trying to do anything. She was nervous of the cops and she was a black woman. I know she was nervous. Star says, I swear this world is making me sick. I'm tired of seeing crap like this. It makes you lose your faith in humanity. I will say that woman is probably in heaven. She was calling on Jesus' name after all. Don't know if he's going to make it through, though. He has some repenting to do. He killed my sister in Christ. Okay, let's look at it one more time, y'all. One more time. Let me see. Now, I want you guys to hear when they got to the porch, because that's when they seem to get agitated. Hold on.
Sheriff's office. Two houses down. Oh no, it's there. She was yelling inside. Hold on. You coming to the door or not?
See, he was agitated right there. You coming to the door or not?
All right, hurry up. Sheriff's office. The one you sold. Oh, Richie, you're calling us. So what'd you hear?
Somebody outside my house.
Is this your car over here? Is this your car over here? Oh. That's not your black car in the driveway? Oh, well, we checked your yard, we walked around the whole block, we didn't see anybody. Right, we don't. We checked the whole area, there's nobody else walking around.
I know y'all. I'm trying to get help, y'all, but
What do you need help with?
I think I just I don't know what to do.
Do with what? What do you need help with?
Nothing. I just wanted to see if I could help.
What do you want help with? What do you want help with?
I heard somebody outside.
Yeah, we checked your house, we checked your backyard, I walked all the way through all these backyards, we checked your front yard. We didn't see nobody. Nobody's out here.
You didn't see anybody.
Nope. Checked the whole area. What took you so long to answer the door?
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry. I was trying to get
I got you. All right. Is there anything else we can do for you? Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure?
My medicine and stuff.
All right. Okay.
So he did ask her, was she mental? I didn't catch what she said though. Hold on.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure?
My medicine stuff.
All right. Okay. All right. That's not your black car, though. SUV? Whose is it?
That should have been the end of it right there. It should have been the end of it right there. She should have closed the door and been done.
You don't know if someone just parked it in your driveway
They brought it to my driveway.
and just left it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah. 19 out of 20. Anyone else live here with you? David Mary 43556.
And you guys are hearing firecrackers in the background, or those stupid firecrackers or whatever like that. And she might have heard that kind of stuff too that got her triggered a little bit, because I know when my dog hears that and I hear too much of that type of noise, it does trigger me too. At this point, it was no reason for them to come in. This would be my argument. There was no reason for them to come in. They checked around the premises. She said she didn't know about the car. They saw that she was okay. They should have just be like, have a nice night. If you hear more prowlers, then give us a call back. They did not have to come in though. I mean, he's checking all into the house, and what he's thinking to himself, I'm thinking that he's thinking, wow, this is such a, disorientated house. Stuff is disheveled all over the place, disheveled everywhere, unkept. Maybe she's a drug head too, in addition to being a mental patient. I'm pretty sure he's probably thinking she's a crackhead or a mental case or both.
I was coming for help from y'all. They're here in my house right now.
We're back now. Sorry about that.
Taking, okay? Grab that Bible, please.
Yeah, and I just need your name so we can get out of here. Was there any damage previous to your car?
Previous, yeah.
Okay, what was the damage?
A dent, I believe.
What about windows?
Oh, that it was something that happened earlier.
Okay, perfect. What is your last name? Shouldn't have to think about your last name. You're not in trouble. I see you text.
Massey.
Massey. You have an ID, doesn't make things so much easier. I just driver's license will do, and I'll get out of your hair.
I'm gonna show y'all my paperwork.
What paperwork? What paperwork?
I got some paperwork.
Well, just get your ID. Well, let's get your ID first, and then one task at a time.
Okay.
Okay, grab your ID for me.
Okay.
Your ID. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
Stamp right there, maybe.
1 second.
We don't need a fire alarm here.
Right.
Wait, how? See the water. I was on. I'm gonna go get my kid. Headshot, dude. You ain't gonna get it. That's a headshot. God damn it. God, fuck. Dude, I'm not taking fucking corner order to fucking head. Hey, look, it fucking came right to our feet, too. God damn it. Fuck. God damn it. You good? I'm good. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Motherfucking. I know what you do, man. Fuck.
In my opinion, he did not have to come in. She was acting a little bit too spacey, and he wanted to investigate in his own little way. So they pressured to get that ID. They didn't have to do all of that because she's the person that called 911. And she did not need and deserve to have that happen to her. And it's very unfortunate that that is the situation. And it's really, really sad. I hope that you guys would appreciate the video by liking it, sharing the video, subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to read a little bit more from the chat room, and from there, I'm going to start talking about Kamala, but I don't want to start talking about Kamala right after seeing that. So let me see what some of you have to say about what you just witnessed. Again, she was scatterbrained. She wasn't prepared, but that still does not mean that she needed to be killed. And that he overreacted. It was a little bit too extreme. She is a hoarder. That's exactly right. Let me go back up. Business says exactly 100 should have been the end. She shouldn't have thrown boiling hot water on someone then. She didn't throw boiling hot water busyness on anyone. She just had it in her hands. That's it. A-Star says, yes, she called the cops, which means that, of course, she's going to answer the door and let them in, and she should feel safe doing that. Yeah, she should feel safe doing that, but I think her mental anxiety or something to that effect, I don't know if she was schizophrenic or whatever, but something in her was not really settling to really deal with the cops like that. I wish she would have had somebody over there with her, but it was 1 something in the morning. A-Star says she shouldn't feel like she has to protect herself from the cops. It's sad that she feels this way. She pays her taxes so that they have a job. They work for her. Monique says, why didn't he just leave after she said that there's nothing else that she needed? Exactly. That's all they had to do, Monique. Easy Act says, nah, at African Goddess, you can speak to those pigs behind the door. I guess so, but you're calling the cops and they're supposed to be your friends. So if you're treating them like you're not friendly, then they might think something is off with you. I don't think that we should give cops a reason to think other thoughts. So I just would have been prepared. I would have had all my stuff ready for when they knocked on the door. And I would have said, you know, this is what I heard. This is what I saw. This is what I feel. And if they would have said, we looked all over the place and we didn't find nobody, I would have said, okay, officer, I appreciate you for coming. If the person comes back, then I'll just call y'all back. But I think she was not in the right mind space. Yes, he wanted to keep it going for some reason, 1200. I have had cops turn on me many times when I called for help, as you wish says. I have been disrespected by cops at least one time, but not too many times because I'm normally ready for them, normally. Easy X says, but we don't know why the cops went inside home because pigs didn't have body cam on. They just had it on. She opened the door. Monique says they violated her rights at that point. My friend was shot running away from the Salt Lake police, running away, as you wish says. Man, they do that a lot, don't they? And yes, she definitely was a hoarder. That shows that she has a mental condition. but it doesn't matter that she was a hoarder. She still didn't need to lose her life. Don't care if she had a mental health issue. What was done to her was not justified, A-Star says. They had no right to walk into her house, As You Wish says. A-Star says this is why people feel like they have to film the cops all the time because of shit like this. She let him in the house. I think that they were probably thinking that somebody that she was having issues with was hiding in the house with her. That's why they kept looking around her house. They were looking for somebody to be inside. They did not really truly trust what she was saying. I believe that. Christopher Baker says, no, he's checking to see why this woman is whacked out. She called them. Yeah, she was whacked out a little bit, but still, he didn't have to overreact. Lockie says, you had no reason to shoot that little woman. He's nuts. A-Star says, Christopher, are you learning about this for the first time, just like I am? I know that I'm still learning, so I might sound like I'm talking out of my ASS. He is a demon, according to Dylan. They could have backed out away from a hot pot of water. Exactly. Yeah, he was an overreactive demon, if you want to call him a demon. He did not have to go extreme with it. She just said it wasn't her car. Why are they talking about a damage to the car? Because they didn't believe her, As You Wish. And she ended up saying that something just happened to it recently, as if she knew about it. So it was kind of confusing about that car. And I'm pretty sure that that car is going to be brought up again. They're going to probably say, we thought that somebody was in the house with her, and maybe they were hiding out in the house. It just kind of felt like they were expecting somebody else to be hiding in the house with her, and that maybe she was trying to conceal someone else in the house, and maybe she had a change of heart because of her mental scatterbrainness. African Goddess says they're treating her like she is a criminal. Yes, they were treating her like she was up to no good, like she was doing something too. Dylan says later in the video, she said, I rebuke you in the blood of Jesus. Yes, she did. That's why they charged his ass so fast. He was in the wrong, 1200 says. Monique says she never gave him a right to come in, or at least I didn't hear her say okay. I didn't hear her say okay, but she swung the door open. So Dylan says, and the cop got mad and shot her. Yeah, he did get upset immediately. He was already agitated at the porch, though. Star says, just keep in mind that a human being died, Christopher. Dylan says, because he is a demon. Yes, he is. Andrew says, notice how he shoots her after she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Yeah. They were after her because they thought she was high. I believe they thought something was up with her other than her just a simple citizen calling the cops. They definitely was looking for something else. Dylan says, a follower of a demon. Goldie says, pot versus gun is crazy. Yeah, it is. Unconvicted justice. If he was so afraid of the boiling water, then why were his first steps towards the boiling water? Exactly. He wanted to make sure he had a good shot. Christopher says, if anyone had a demon, it was her. I beg to differ. That's not my opinion. That's yours. Dylan says, as you wish, no one, or as you wish, no, she was not. No, she's not a demon. She just was scatterbrained and a little bit scared and anxiety. She had good reason to have anxiety because that guy was off. Matthew says, you don't have to worry about Kamala Harris administration. Yes, I do. We got to make sure that Matthew Trump is the president, because we cannot want a Kamala Harris administration. Christopher Baker says it was boiling water, not a pot. Dylan says no. Star says God numbered the hairs on her head. He bottled every last one of her tears. God planned that woman before the earth was even formed. So show this human being some respect and don't dishonor her memory. Andrew says he has a demon attached to him and she was scared by it and it told him to kill her. Oh, wow. Heavy Lobster says this tragedy does suck. It does. I'm not saying she was high. I'm saying that they thought she was. They thought something else was up, as you wish. They were probably thinking that somebody else was there, that maybe she had a falling out with a boyfriend, told him to get out, and he was prowling around and she let him back in, and he probably thought somebody else was in that apartment or house rather with her. She's probably was cooking, Joey's World says. African Goddess says, as you wish. That's why I say police should have training in mental health issues and given substance issues. Even if she was high, you cannot kill someone for that. NZ says, are there charges being brought up? Yes, there are. Dylan says that officer is a demon. Golden Brown says you have too many evil people in this chat. There are some evil people around, that's for sure. Everybody's invited, though. This is disgraceful, as you wish says. Yes, it is. Whenever you call them, they identify you, running you for warrants. Yeah. That's why I don't think that they should have asked for her ID, though, because she was the one that made the call and they knew that they were at the house. What is the purpose of running her ID if she was the caller? That right there was that they were not convinced, again, that she was an outright outstanding citizen American. They were treating her like she was up to no good. As you wish says, I never said even if she was high, they had the right to do it. 1200 says his partner was discussed. You could hear him disgusted, I guess you meant to say. Heavy says, incompetent cop, this is not a racial issue as media portrays it. The officer didn't say, please back up from the pot. He didn't give proper instructions to her. Exactly. All he had to say is, please back away from the pot and come back and get your ID, please. That's all he had to say. Golden Brown said, this guy is talking like he hate this woman, this Baker guy. Dylan says they told her and she cooperated. 1200 says she was scared. Andrew says the other one wasn't. That's why he was disgusted. Andrew says she was horrified by the demon. Pinky says might not be a racial issue, but definitely an issue. 3 departments have already got rid of him. She saw he was a demon and rebuked him, Dylan says. Heavy Lobster says she didn't cooperate and she dug down with the pot. She was scared for her life when she seen the gun. What do you expect her to do when she sees a gun at her? Easy X says, no. You don't have to open door and let them in. Talk to them through the door. I mean, it's possible to do that, but it depends on what type of cop you have and what their response would be. I would be scared to get shot through the door, through the screen door, if I had it open. I mean, I don't know if she had a screen or not. Andrew says, nobody just randomly says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, Andrew says. Normally they don't, but she was obviously had a mental issue. And Dylan says 9 departments to be exact. And Team Globe says, bro sounds like he's on drugs or roids. Okay, steroids? Is that what you mean? Star says, I think she was old, and I think she also had some mental health issues. She was only 36 years old. You don't hold people accountable for what they don't have the capacity of. Christopher says the woman was clearly possessed or insane. She had mental issues. That's, a lot of people have mental issues that they're coping with. African Goddess says, it may be police incompetence, but too many of these incidents involves people of color. Yes, they do. Easy Access, cops, pigs are not your friends, keeps on believing that. Sometimes they can be your friend. It really depends on the circumstance. Not all of them are bad. Easy X, not all cops are bad. You can't say that. At least I don't say that. No, but that cop had to be a demon. That's what Andrew says, and I believe you. That's why he reacted that way. Dylan says she had mental problems, and as soon as she rebuked him, exactly. Team Globe says, imagine no camera, what they would have said happened. Pinky Wells says, yes, women have problems with me. Call the police and then hide them. When the police arrived, had a neighbor that did that. That's what I believe they thought was going on. Easy Access, the cop pig that first went inside did not have body cam on. The second pig did, so we don't know why first pig went inside. Dylan says, stop calling them pigs. Dylan says the second officer immediately reported the officer. Rachel says she doesn't have to present her ID. You don't have to do that if they stop you, if they have no reason to stop you. Rachel is kind of debatable, though, because things escalate behind that ID, especially if they think that you are doing something that's criminal. So it's just best just to hand over your ID and let them check whatever and deal with it. Maybe talk to the supervisor. There are supervisors you can call on and make a complaint about the officer, but I don't think you should challenge an officer about your ID at the time because they're the one with the guns. Dylan says, and after she got shot, the second officer went to get his kit. Pinky says, if you open door and don't tell them not to enter, they will enter. Easy Access, cops are not your friends. They lie. There can help you, but don't trust 100%. The other cops had his on, Rachel says. Valleywood, I missed a psych appointment and didn't get the psych meds refills I needed. After 4 days, my mind was very dark. I called the cops for help. I wanted to jump off a cliff, but had a change of heart. Wow, 4 days only off your meds? Valleywood. 1200, he threatened to shoot her in the face. Yes, he did. Star says, I'm sorry for thinking she was an old lady. I need my eyeglasses. I just assumed based on the nightgown. I got fuzzy eyeballs. Apologies for assuming she was old. No problem. She was 36. Easy Axe, you guys spooky. He ain't no demon. He's just a effed up pig. You can have demonic people, though, that have unsettled issues spiritually, and he might have had some anger issues, and I would depict that as being a demon. Timothy says, yes, Andrew. Pinky says, weirdos in here last few days. Monique says, sorry, Valleywood, mental illness is no joke. Exactly. I don't know if he's trolling or what. Dylan says he was a demon. Timothy says he definitely was a demon. Yaya says, many men wish death upon me. No, I can't cry no more. I can't look at the sky no more. All mercy on me. Dylan says, why else would he get mad when she said that? She rebuked him in the name of Jesus. He really knew in his mind that she was off, but that still doesn't justify shooting her in the face, though. I told them that I had an empty, I'm not going to read any more of your, what did you say? Because I was running away. Mexico to disappear. They shot me 13 times. I don't believe you, Valleywood. I think you're just trolling now. It's some demons in the chat. Some sure, Timothy says. Wow. We are protected by the blood of Jesus, Dylan says. Yeah, there's a lot of trolls in here. That's what I say. He also didn't want to provide aid to her either. Yaja says, yes. Pinky says, I don't know where she lives, but there is a law. If you have a police contact within 100 miles of the ZUS border, you legally are required to present ID, or you can be held 72 hours for the PD. That's why I wouldn't play around with the ID. No. As soon as I get stopped by cops, I'm looking for my ID. I'm like, and I offer my ID before they even ask. I say, officer, would you like me to get my ID? And then I kind of like started off that way. Timothy says, I don't think she was mental health issues. I think she did. I think she honestly did, Timothy. She had too much anxiety. Ruger says her spirit knew evil was attacking. That's why she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That cop was a straight demon coward. Exactly. Easy X says, this chat is hilarious, believing in demons and ish. If she could see demons, why couldn't she see the stalker outside and rebuke the stalkers? What stalker? She called because she thought there was a prowler around her premise where she lived. 1200 says she was a black woman by herself. That's why he did what he did, thinking she was going to get away with it. He was going to get away with it. Ruger says they are demonic pigs. Dylan says, are you a believer of Christ? To Acts. Timothy Tucker says, a long time ago, Jesus cast the demons into some pigs. Yeah, I remember that story. Easy X says, I had an uncle and a cousin that were Leo. They were power-hungry pigs, but they told me about cops etiquette, what to do and not do. Pinky says, for black correction on comment, women have problems with men, domestic violence. They call police and hide the men or lie to the police when they get there. I know. That's what I think, Pinky. The cops were thinking. That's why they kept looking in the other rooms. Demons can be good, Easy Act says. Not in my opinion. Trolling Dirty says, not federal and no one agrees with her murder. Stop baiting. More divisive. Okay, whatever, Trolling Dirty. Now you playing with the crackers, Pinky Well says. Dylan says, Easy X, I rebuke you. Rachel says, he said, I'll shoot you in the face before he did it. That was his intentions. Yes, it was, unfortunately. 1200 says the killer cop didn't have the camera on and his partner did, and he didn't know till after he shot her, and there's no way he could alter those body cams. He knew he effed up. L says, just because you are mentally ill doesn't mean you're clairvoyant. All evil comes from the devil, whether you like it or not. Yes, that is true. Now, we're talking about how Kamala Harris administration would be in this instance if she would have had sympathy or would have ignored what happened to this woman. I really don't feel that she's tapped in with the common people. I really don't think that she really has the heart like people are trying to describe her having suddenly. I just don't buy it. And a lot of us, fortunately, black folks are not buying it either. There are a whole host of people assuming that black folks in America are just going to keep voting Democrats. I really think there's a rude awakening coming this election. At least I pray there's a rude awakening happening. So let's listen to this video and hear some of the callers talking about Kamala Harris.
Happy to see a woman running for president, and I'm grateful for that. However, does that mean I was on the fence even with Biden running again? Because everyone talks about, oh, let's get the black vote, and they get the black vote and nothing changes. And when I say nothing, I mean our education system. Our children are suffering in New York City public schools. And let's talk about services. My brother's paraplegic. He got hit by a drunk, and it's very hard for him to get services. And I understand that they allow the migrants to come in, but they come in and they just overwhelm them with services. And they forget about the people that are already here. So what's going to change with that? What are they going to do with the black agenda to help our children that's struggling in New York public schools? They're not even on the same level as other kids in other countries. And that's what my concern is. So Is something going to change because Kamala's running instead of Biden? Like, help me out. We're confused here.
Well, those are all valid questions. A lot of those things you named are local issues, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's stuff you should be going to your local government with.
Yeah.
I don't think America's ready. I don't think America's ready for a female president. You know what? I'm a black man, and I absolutely do not want another Democratic president in there. I think we should give the Republicans another try. There's a lot of agendas that the Democratic Party has kind of put into place that I don't support. I think they're destroying the black man. They're destroying the black family. I think they're ruining our country. And if you're living in New York like I am, man, this place is a financial nightmare, not to mention crime. I think if we put Trump back in there, man, it's going to be amazing. Kamala cannot do what he's going to do to bring this country back where it needs to be. And it's not a race thing, because that's the number one thing they like to say when they talk about Trump and how he's a criminal and blah, 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 blah. I don't think any of that matters. His policies are what we need to focus on, and he's going to get us back where we need to go. Kamala is not ready.
It says she isn't qualified to even walk my dog. Hey, y'all got to see these comments, man. Y'all got to see what people are saying online, boy. Hey, shout out to the ones that's not sugarcoating it, man. Shout out to the ones that know how to think for themselves, man. Shout out to the ones, man, that don't follow the fake news, man. You know? As you can see, they have rigged this thing up. You know? A person that ain't got one vote, they have rigged it up already. And now we're going to be hearing the race card and gender card until November. Unbelievable. And again, they have done it before. They're trying to write history again, y'all. You can't make this stuff up, man. You know? And like I told y'all, different face, same policies that put America last. Same policies that put America last.
Now, I just found an article from Marshall Project that talks about a little bit of decisions that Kamala Harris already has been a part of. It says what these decisions tell us about Kamala Harris' approach to criminal justice. This is the Marshall Project's closing argument newsletter, a weekly deep dive into a key criminal justice issue. Want this delivered to the inbox? Okay. After Vice President Kamala Harris' quick ascent to the top of the 2024 Democratic ticket, a torrent of news, analysis, and commentary on her prosecutorial career has followed. Last week, my colleague Chavez and I shared some of the key elements of Harris' record on criminal justice issues. This week, I'm diving a bit deeper on some cases and programs that define her time as San Francisco District Attorney and the California Attorney General. Many of these items have already re-entered national political discourse or are likely to in the coming weeks. Writing for Politico this week, Ankush, a former federal prosecutor, argued that no prosecutor's career can be judged effectively based on simplified accounts from a few high-profile cases. The actual work of prosecutors is much more trickier than political commentators and even prosecutors themselves often portray it in the political arena. Complexity is difficult to communicate in political messaging or even during debates for readers likely to encounter mentions or of programs and cases that Harris has been involved in. We hope this week's edition will be a handy primer to the more nuanced aspects of her record. The death penalty. One of the earliest tests of Harris's career as district attorney came after a San Francisco man shot and killed police officer Isaac Espinoza in 2004. Harris had campaigned against capital punishment and rejected calls by police groups, the officer's family, and prominent state Democratic officials to seek a death penalty. The decision permanently fractured Harris's relationship with the city's police, according to the people chose close to Harris and police officials. The Trump campaign is already citing this case to criticize Harris. The uneasiness between Harris and police groups persisted through her first bid for California Attorney General in 2010, but she worked to repair those relationships in her first term, according to a 2016 New York Times Magazine feature, and won the support of numerous police groups during her re-election campaign. As state attorney general, Harris appealed a federal court ruling that would have effectively ended the death penalty in the state, frustrating anti-death penalty advocates. Harris argued that despite her personally held convictions about the punishment, the ruling was legally flawed, a position with which the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ultimately agreed. Incarcerated transgender people. On a number of issues that came up during her tenure as Attorney General, Harris has said that as a lawyer, she was bound to advocate on behalf of her client, the state of California, in ways that might not align with her personal beliefs. This was her explanation for arguing to release fewer prisoners than courts had ordered after the U.S. Supreme Court found that overcrowding in California prisons was creating cruel and unusual punishment. Harris told the LGBTQ outlet that her role advocating for the state is the same reason her office composed a brief seeking to deny gender affirmation surgery for transgender people in prison. I had clients, and one of them was the California Department of Corrections. It was their policy. When I learned about what they were doing behind the scenes, I got to change the policy, Harris said. While Harris' role is not publicly known, the department agreed to settle a 2015 that requires it to consider gender affirmation surgery for incarcerated people on case-by-case basis. One of Harris's trademark efforts in San Francisco District Attorney was to back on track diversion program, which was fairly unusual for the mid-2000s, according to a then Harris staffer, Michael Torancoso. The program was made available to some people between the ages of 18 and 30 pleading guilty to the first-time non-violent drug charges. Participants received individualized support and job training, performed community service, and were required to find work or be enrolled in school. Successful graduates had their guilty pleas tossed out and scrubbed from their records. The program, which internal documents showed graduated between 30 and 100 people every year, boasted a reoffense rate of about 10% compared to 50% for similar populations in the state. Harris, who majored in economics as an undergraduate, conceived the program as a series of incentives and desincentives, carrots and sticks. Our program encompasses working unceasingly to make and keep our communities safe, using every tool at our disposal, she explained in her 2009 book, Smart on Crime. That approach pushed back on the prevailing logic of the era that prosecutors' only role was to win convictions. She was spoken about the program in every practical terms. This is not social work we are doing. This is law enforcement program, Harris wrote. We did not develop back on track out of pity or compassion. Again, earlier I talked about the innocent case of 2008. Jamal Truelove was arrested in San Francisco and prosecuted by Harris' office for murder of a friend where he did not commit the murder. An appellate court later found that the police officers had framed Truelove, and he was released after 6 years in prison. And in that case, he received $13 million in settlement. So I think that her role as a prosecutor is kind of questionable. And I'm pretty sure that Trump is going to find many other things to bring up, to talk about, and I can't wait. I really don't think that this woman is the type of woman that will be able to lead successfully. And she's pandering to Black Americans. Like, that is the thing to do. Again, I hope that my people will listen and not be impressed with propaganda, because that is what is going on with this Kamala Harris. And everything about her is not about bettering our conditions here as Americans, Black Americans in particular. It's about getting our vote. And after getting our vote, what's going to happen? They're going to go off into the sunset and do what they've been doing, ignoring us. But the thing that I'm most fearful about with Kamala Harris is that border. And I really am wondering what type of answer she's going to have, how she's going to deal with all these illegals that are criminals, in my opinion, running amok, doing the most, imploding our economy. We are on the verge of a recession, if not already. What is she going to do to answer to that? Now, speaking of economy, oh, you know what? Speaking of, is she fit? Rather, she's been accused allegedly of dealing with many men to get to the top. I do want to show this video that Candace brought out. Well, not brought out, but was talking about the past relationships that Kamala Harris has been a part of. Let's listen to this video.
So they understand that it will look really bad if they do not lean in to saying that they really do want Kamala, but even that feels a bit performative to me, and I'll tell you why.
So, Candace Owens has been a little quiet. She had the public issue with Ben Shapiro. She went back to her regular YouTube channel that she always had, and now she is back. Candace Owens drops bombs on Kamala Harris's history.
So they understand that it will look really bad if they do not lean in to saying that they really do want Kamala, but even that feels a bit performative to me, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm starting to see articles creep out, and they seem like attacks on Kamala. Again, if we can go into our time machine and go back to 2020, well, every time that someone tried to interject the truth about Kamala, which is that she slept her way to the top, it's a fact. She was with some 6-year-old man, got her start in the political career, and they would go, oh my gosh, how dare you say this? That's so sexist. Well, then suddenly on July 6th, the Daily Mail actually published a headline about the fact that Kamala Harris was, thoughting through life. And they basically said she got her political start, her political upstart, because she was dating this guy, Willie, can't think of his last name right now.
Willie
and
Brown.
She was married. And
she was dating Willie Brown, which, by the way, Willie Brown has made a statement recently about Kamala Harris and her nominee for the Democrats. Let's listen to what the guy that she used to deal with that helped her rise to the top, y'all. She had relations with a married man, Willie Brown, right here, when she was only 30 years old or so, and he was like 60 years old.
It's probably the most unusual day we will have. And it was made that way simply because all the people, including the Bidens, stretched it out for 3 weeks. And every day there was a question, is something happening that makes sense on this issue? And then suddenly, on Sunday, midday, it's all gone. Now you have to do a real story.
is it historic?
It is historic. Of course it is. And everybody wants desperately to be a part of it. And it will be even more historic when it turns out back then Biden offering the torch to his designated successor, Kamala Harris.
Now, this is how he looked when they first were together. That's how young he was then, and that's how she was looking back when. And he was a married man at the time.
Harris be in charge of the ticket now?
Kamala Harris will be in charge of the ticket. She is probably the one person that can beat Trump. And the goal of Democrats, in spite of their antics in the last 3 weeks, have been to beat Trump.
Where do we go now? I mean, Nancy Pelosi has come out and she, has been kind of behind the scenes in the past couple of weeks, kind of making noise about it should be an open process. We've got weeks before the DNC. What do you see happening?
Well, I don't know when it's ever been a real open process. I think the public knows that if there's a convention, the people who are in attendance at the convention in Chicago actually are the people who are doing and making the choices. And that's not an open process. It's obviously open if you can afford to attend in Chicago in mid-August. But if you are on the streets in San Francisco and you are a working person, a waiter or a dishwasher or a bus driver or even an Uber driver, it's not an open process because your voice is not being heard.
So what does Kamala...
And the little bitty people are never really heard. So, but this is who she dealt with to rise to the top.
Right now,
Willie
and
Brown.
he was married and he was in his 60s, and Kamala Harris was just a spring chicken, and that is how she entered the political scene. So she was not somebody who was a part of their ecosystem, but they tapped her in 2020 because they were like, oh, like the thing that we always say is that look at the Republican Party, it's so white and there's no diversity, and how are we going to be able to say that if we're running Joe Biden, who's been extraordinarily wealthy his entire life and whose son is becoming extraordinarily wealthy while smoking crack simply because he's doing dirty deals in Ukraine? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna hire Kamala Harris. We're gonna select Kamala Harris to be the vice president. And he's the only person I can think of. And then we can sell. I know that when she was sworn into Congress, she was talking about how she's an Indian, but we'll just sell the people, like, forget the Indian side. Like, now she's back to black. And the streets are talking, ha, 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 ha. And that's what they did. So that is the only reason that Kamala Harris, they literally did not have another person that they felt could be the vice president and allow them to use the isms. You don't like her, you're a sexist. You don't think that she's amazing, you're a misogynist, deep-seated misogyny. You don't want this ticket to win. Is it because Kamala Harris is black? Kinda. I feel like it is. It's because you're a racist. So they just needed her to do the thing.
So she brings up some interesting points there, because I've heard about the situation with Willie Brown. Willie Brown, former mayor of San Francisco, had a relationship with Kamala Harris when she was in her 20s or 30s. He was in his 60s, and he was married. They were seen together quite often. And she was, as the Los Angeles Times says, she was shaped by the crucible of San Francisco politics. She was a young upstart, in the Bay Area. And she was attached to this guy as, I don't know, as a mentor or something. There's something about these lawyers, man. You can think about Fonnie Willis and how she went down with Nathan Wade and, started off as a lawyer, a judge guiding a lawyer and, trying to, like, give her advice, and then eventually she comes back to them, and then they have this relationship. There's a lot of that going on, but Candace Owens brings light to something that we've all known. In fact, Judge Joe Brown, I remember, was very clear about this and has stood steadfast about the Willie Brown thing. Of course, he's from California, so he saw Kamala coming, you know what I mean? But the fact that she is the presumptive nominee in some ways. Shout out to Judge Joe Brown and Dana.
She's been corrupt her whole life, and she's her way to the top. They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapade, and she ain't black. Well, here's the thing. I actually met her father in Jamaica. I was the guest, sat at the Governor General's table, and he was a professor. And he represents as a Hindu Brahmin. He admittedly has some Irish in him. All right? The person that Kamala Harris is saying is her black great-grandmother is in fact according to Daddy in an article he wrote, which has now been cleaned up on the online edition of that magazine, was a Hindu house servant, not a black woman. So her mother is listed on her birth certificate as Caucasian, even though she's dark. But see, she's a Hindu Brahmin Tamil caste. Now, interestingly, do you know what the anthropological name is for what Kamala Harris and her parents are?
No, sir.
Indo-Aryan.
So yeah, Judge Joe Brown seems to be very familiar with Kamala Harris, obviously.
Does it matter who she slept with? No, but it does matter that somebody's willing to sleep with powerful men to get their start in politics or start in the government and rising to the top. That might be, I believe, something that would cause you to wonder, what is her character really about? Is she really flawed if she would allow herself to be sleeping around to get, up in status? So again, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. I don't think that she is qualified really to be the president of the United States. And I really certainly don't believe that she's going to be able to handle the border. I think that she'll get bulldozed over as far as making the right decisions for the country. And so I hope that from seeing this video and understanding what her past has been about, that she is not equipped to handle overall cases involving police brutality, such as Sonia Massey's case. I don't think that she would be sympathetic as she should be. And I haven't heard anything from her as of yet. But if I do hear her give a statement, I will do a video about that to show what she said. But overall, we all have decisions to make for November. And I hope that we make the right decision based on what the country really, truly needs, not off of the supposedness of her melanated skin, if she's considered a colored person or person of color. That should not be the reason why we vote for Kamala Harris. And I hope that we really think about what it means to be a president, because they have to make hard decisions and they have to be very brutish and brass. And I believe that Trump has those attributes about him that I'm sure that Kamala Harris is brute and brass, but I think it's towards the people. I think it's towards people. I don't think it's towards the right stuff, such as police brutality and, corruption and, this government being wide open. Well, the borders are being wide open and flooding of immigrants coming through, the illegals. I hope that we make the right decision, y'all. It is kind of scary that she's even up that far to be considered. And I have a lot of anxiety thinking about her becoming the first president that's a woman. And I don't mind that she's a woman, first off, but I do mind her past. I do mind her past. And I hope that Trump just drags her on the floor with the truth. I'm sure he will. So with that being said, you guys, I appreciate everybody for coming out. This live is getting a lot longer than what I realized. I hope that you guys would do me a favor by liking and sharing the video. If you have a song that you might want to hear, let me know. Other than that, I'm going to conclude this video. I don't think I have a song that I can play in advance. Hold on, let me see if I do. I was listening to Tupac earlier. Hold on, let me play another Tupac song. Don't trust nobody, Tupac.
I'm not saying my lifestyle is the best. I'm saying this is the lifestyle most lived by the most motherfuckers out there, or a variation of it. I'm on some survival shit. DJ Nemo. I feel like it's in the wild life.
Swimming the minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking he can make his back to in the bunch. Niggas better slow down, cause you can tell the young niggas in the wildlife. Swimming the minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking he can make his back to in the bunch. Niggas better slow down. I never had a father figure, I was raised by the thugs and the drug dealers. That's why I love niggas. Until they place me in my casket, guess I'll be a homeless bastard, getting high in the back of plastic. Ain't nobody make me wait for me, time to start. On the nigga, mama pray for me. I'm smoking weed for the stress and drinking for the pain from the strain on the young brother's brain. Ain't a motherfucking thing to do, but it ain't the same truth. Love's get lonely too. I'm drinking 22s of brew till I'm fixing, and I ain't going up, I'm out in the business, trying to get my hands on the cash. How long will it last? Will it last a little longer if the last? And trust me, I'll probably be the last to preach, cause ain't no hope for the future if you're asking me. And what my papa never told me. You see, I learned from the kindness of strangers and homies, so now I can't turn back, time to make it do. They wanna ban me, I'm trying to keep a family, but all the homies in the hood show me, nigga, it's all good. And motherfuck Hollywood, but try to shut a real nigga down, saying true to the game, fuck the pain. I still won't change, like young niggas in the wildlife, criminal minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking he can make his back to in the bunch. Niggas better slow down, cause you can be tough. Young niggas in the wildlife, criminal minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking he can make his back to in the bunch. Niggas better slow down, cause you can up and out this zone. I was raised to be strong, and mama told me be a thug since the day I was born. I came up out the gutter, never changed my style. Got the real about my papers cause the game was wild, and the fame was about to try to change me. And was strangers, nobody knew my name for a name. Now the whole world's calling me a killer, and all I ever did was try to reach the kids with the real all the time I was balling. Never heard my friends calling, couldn't stop myself from falling. The mall and the shit's getting squeezy. Believe it, let's take what you need, but don't be greedy. Cause in my mind I see sunshine. I thought I didn't have to run, now I'm ducking from the gun, yelling one time. My young homie stay strong. I wonder if they listen to a nigga when he gone, when he came up. Like young niggas in the wildlife, criminal minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking you can make this back, so in the bunch. Niggas better slow down, cause you can be tough. Young niggas in the wildlife, criminal minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking you can make this back, so in the bunch. Niggas better slow down, cause you can be tough. So a nigga think you touch the sky, turn tough inside, in the rush to die. Living like there's a gun on the face the truth. What's going on with the wasted youth? Please God come and save me. Had to work with what you gave me. They got a nigga going crazy. I can't read the signs. I'm blind, but a nigga know the weed is blind. The signs ain't what they used to be. Ain't a penitentiary bill picking up for me. I'm a niggas on the streets, man. Listen, cause these ain't the old days. Ain't no way I'm busting my ass and getting no pay. It seems I can't find my focus. And homie, I ain't paranoid. I see the future and it's hopeless. Lord knows it's hard on the young scrub. It seems I had less problems when I smelled drugs. But since I'm lazy young brothers with the game, wanna see me locked in chains and try to dirty up my name. And them same motherfuckers that was calling me will be the first to turn it back when I'm falling. See, I should've seen it from the jump, but now it's clear. One nigga got the town in fear, and all you still there, still there, still there.
Hey yo, Mimo, drop that shit.
Like young niggas in the wildlife, criminal minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking you can make this back, you in the bunch. Niggas better slow down, cause you can be tough. Young niggas in the wildlife, criminal minds of the juvenile, still in the jail life. Thinking you can make this back, you in the bunch. Niggas better slow down, cause you can be tough.
Yeah, you know what the fuck this is. Open your motherfucking ears, pay attention. You in the mix with my homeboy, DJ Mimo.
Now, the next song is Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. Thank you for the selection. I think it was Pinky or Four Rivers. Anyways, the next selection is Fast Car.
I want a ticket to anywhere. Maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove. Get a fast car. I got a plan to get us out of here. Been working at the convenience store. Managed to save just a little bit of money. Won't have to drive too far. Just cross the border and into the city. You and I can both get jobs. Finally see what it means to be living. See, my old man's got a problem. Yeah, but the bottle, that's the way it is. He says his body's too old for work. His body's too young to look like his. My mama went off and left him. She wanted more from life than he could give. I said, somebody's got to take care of him. I quit school, and that's what I did. You get a fast car. Is it fast enough so we can fly away? We gotta make a decision. Leave tonight and live and die this way. So I remember when we were driving in your car. Speed so fast, I felt like I was drunk. City lights day out before us, and your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder. And I had a feeling that I belonged. I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone. We got a fast car. We go cruise and entertain ourselves. Still ain't got a job. Now work in the market as a checkout girl. I know things will get better. You'll find work and I'll get promoted. We'll move out of the shelter, buy a bigger house and live in the suburbs. So I remember when we were driving in your car. Speed so fast, I felt like I was drunk. City lights day out before us. Your arm felt nice wrapped on my shoulder. And I had a feeling that I belonged. I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone. We got a fast car. I got a job that pays all our bills. Stay out drinking late at the bar. For your friends and you do your kids. I know it's hope for better. Thought maybe together you and me find it. They got no plans, I ain't going nowhere. Take a fast car and keep on driving. So I remember when we were driving in your car. Speed so fast, I felt like I was drunk. City lights day out before us. Your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder. And I had a feeling that I belonged. I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone. You got a fast car. Fast enough so you can fly away. You gotta make a decision. Leave tonight and live and die this way.
Yes, y'all. The last song for the night or the day is James Brown. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. I have to take my dog out, but I appreciate everybody for listening to the live and everybody that has hit like, subscribe, or share. I greatly appreciate people that have been supportive of me over the last week or so. It's been really a lot more views that I've ever gotten in my whole entire life, and I really, really appreciate everybody that is supportive of me.
We can use from outside of town. Let's get our heads together.